for their side as well. They have the Void Spirit matching up against the Puck right here. Very doable, so definitely Tundra should have a much better chance here in game number 2. Really, when you look at it from the draft's perspective, especially. I do look at this Wyvern, though, and it does feel like Wyvern's going to have a lot of potential on the side of Team Aster. Again, goes back to the Enigma, but even against Ursa to an extent, right, could be pretty scary. So, one that will prove to be a valuable pick for Aster. But how about the setup early on? Almost seemed like they were going to charge into one another, but no, never mind.
Man, look at these wards as well coming out from Aster. Just complete control around the mid lane. It's going to spot out any other rotations or stacking as well. Looks like they want to try to get aggro early on, which is interesting when you consider that they picked a Wyvern as one of their supports in conjunction with the Primal Beast, right? Primal Beast kind of a given, but Wyvern's maybe a little bit more passive in the early levels. So curious to see what they're going to do with these wards. I do think that this is just a sexy game from a highlight reel for POS5s, though. I think, but you mentioned the Wyvern, but we can't underrate the Shadow Demon on the other side. With the clutch saves, he's capable of the disruption. Disseminate as well can do an incredible job against heroes like the Primal Beast, especially against heroes that get clutch saved by the Cold Embrace. There's a lot of play here for the POS5s.
Yeah, definitely going to be keeping an eye on their impact. And, of course, it goes back to, well, you can look to initiate on them if you're either team, and getting them killed off the bat, certainly a very viable strategy. As the Bounty Rune contention, it ends up being a 2-for-2 split. And into the lanes we go. It doesn't look like anything too unexpected is necessarily coming out here. Unlike last game where we had the early lane swap. But this time around, got the Lone Druid matched up down at the bottom lane with the Primal Beast partner, going up against the Earthshaker and that Enigma, as we talked about.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, actually. This is the second game in a row where they've put their POS4 with their POS1. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this one makes a lot more sense. Like, the last one is kind of like, I think it's just a development of the lanes and how they begin. But this was meant to target out the Eidolons. Like, you can just onslaught and trample them to death. And Lone Druid can just farm in the meantime. It's actually so annoying for the Enigma this game.
I love what, by the way, I love what Soniqs did right there. I don't know if it was caught on camera or not, but he actually blocked Baboka from running over here at the bottom to stop him from pulling this creep wave. And so Baboka kind of decided to watch as Soniqs makes the creep wave still happen and going to pull it back, try to get this lane control in their favor. But so it's fun kind of mini games that are played early on, in this case, between the supports.
Yeah, it's just going to begin with the supports being annoying to each other. It's going to end with the Primal Beast being ultimately more annoying for the laner here. You see, like right now, he's just going incredibly deep to try and intercept the pull-throughs to safe areas. But once you get 3 points, one in each, and you just trample through, I don't see a world in which 33 gets his Eidolon army online. Which is just sad to say, because if you're an Enigma without Eidolons, what are you?
Turn around right there at the uproar. They're manning up. This feels like somebody might be dying right here. Who's going to be? Baboka? Okay, well, he's Baboka.
Eat a tree? Okay,
he just got collapsed.
I guess he just didn't want to try to delay that. He could have eaten a tree and tried to go north, but I think from his perspective, he's like, I'm mostly out of mana. I'm almost dead. Like, what more do I do here? Just kind of a very weird brawl there. The waves going between the tier 1 and tier 2, and then the fact that even Lone Druid turns up to that at level 2 is pretty absurd.
Yeah, not the location you'd expect to see at not even 2 minutes into the game at that point. But either way, he TPs back to the bottom, so of course gives up the first blood. But Baboka back ready to go. And speaking of the creep pull, once again using those boots is Earthshaker. Do some creep pull at the bottom. Not much that Primal Beast can do about that for the time being. But yeah, as you're saying, it seems like maybe that level 3 for the Primal Beast is going to be the key to start being a bit more useful in that laning phase down there.
It feels like there's a lot of picks for the full role that focus on brawling. And Shaker, maybe part of the reason he hasn't looked that success at the moment is he doesn't tick that box, right? But this is the perfect type of pair. When you put it with an Enigma should reach a stage where he can just sit on a lane, farm himself, and then a Shaker can use these boots very well early on by rotating. Sadly, I don't think we can rely on this lane to be what we talked about in the draft, where it's more than a black hole. Because 33 right now is doing terribly in the CS department. And it's because of how often his Eidolons are insta-denied.
Well, not doing terribly is Skitter, by the way.
Yeah.
And noticing him up here at the top lane, I haven't talked too much about it, but he is 17-2, man. 18-2 currently. Having a very, very good time here at this top lane. Brewmaster 12-0 on the other side of XXS right now is in a little bit of trouble. Cinderbrew down, but manning up against Skitter right there, making it nearly impossible to actually commit for that kill. But Skitter back to the creep wave and going to continue that early farm.
The duality of disruption. You can interrupt XSS getting CS, you can keep him out of position. But when you go to jump him, that's just a target for Splinter Blast, and that's why that ended up being an even exchange, is because in a situation where you shouldn't have maybe a counter target, and so there's Skitter on top of the brew, you've got illusions as well, and what on earth just... All right.
What's that?
The lone druid death is...
He's dead.
Yeah, that... You wouldn't usually expect that to be happening there, especially under his own tier 1, but this lane bot has delivered some interesting experiences so far, Breaky.
Oh, Enigma maybe getting a little bit better farm now with that kill, especially getting the hero kill right there. I guess that's one way to do it. You know, we forgot the factor of Enigma killing the lone druid with those Malefice stuns, I suppose. So,
yeah.
Of course, Earthshaker, a big part of that too, at the fissure reach. So, yeah, they happen to get the dive on a Monet and successful. And see, once again, as soon as he shows back up, Zoxa back in there. And Baboka, using that uproar, takes some damage, but staying alive for the time being. But yeah, it's Tundra showing that they're not afraid in this lane anymore, maybe as if they were before.
Yeah, you know, just the classic Enigma pick to kill heroes in the lane, as you usually do. Totally not to farm creeps, but a kind of weird exchange going on there. Good for them as well, though. I don't want to see it be too one-sided. I mean, Lone Druid was kind of getting a freebie over time. Of course, the denies are starting to add up 33. Decent amount of those will be from getting rid of his own Eidolons, but still, some of them are depriving XP away from the side of Aster.
Mm-hmm. The mid matchup we haven't really mentioned yet, but 20-2 Void Spirit, 25-7 Puck, so pretty much as you'd expect. A fairly even back and forth brawl here in that mid lane for the time being.
Well, he at least drew them both over here, and they're wasting a lot of time. Oh, God. Are they even going to get... I don't know if they're even going to get this.
Oh, no.
He kills the courier and walks away. He has 5 more movement speed than Baboka.
Like, he just walked up and smacks a courier. He's like, thank you very much. I'll take this, and I'm going to keep going on my way. I mean, that was the gloves of hate. The gloves were on that courier, by the way, so that's even a pretty big kill. Now, he is dead.
He's alive. He's just like, because he just does this, and then he walks around, and he could probably deny himself to the tower if he does this right. Okay, maybe not. But still, like, it's so much time wasted for Baboka. Meanwhile, look at the lane. 33's just been farming this whole time. He's vibing.
That's absurd. Yeah, this bottom lane is actually going very well, and when you look at the CS, and well, even net worth actually reflecting that, it's overall Tundra, all 3 cores are having a decent time in this game. So good news for them. Skitter top lane.
Not
he
so
might
good
be in trouble as we're saying this. Not so good. Okay, he's fine though. He's got that stick for good reason, and he will survive. But yeah, these slows up here, by the way, we've seen time and time again on him.
Painful.
He's having to deal with all those slows, man.
Yeah, and you can try to disruption save him, but they're still going to be waiting when you come out. The good news for him is you got the Ring of Health, so now he kind of offsets most of the problem. That's one of the fun things about playing Ursa, is that you don't necessarily need these stat padding items, you just need regen. Because if a fight takes too long, Fury Swipes will just win out long term anyway.
Very interesting transition right here for the Lone Druid, and I gotta think it's you know, because maybe the start hasn't been nearly as good as he hoped for, especially with the death. We did see the Mask of Madness even queued up earlier on, but now he's switching over to the Midas, is Lone Druid, at least from the looks of it. So,
okay,
worthy point to be made there as far as what he was thinking in this game.
Yeah, he's just forfeit the lane now, and this means 33 gets a game. What a brilliant turnaround. Like, that kill underneath the tower that seems like it shouldn't necessarily happen changed everything about dynamics, and it's for the better as well, because although a Shaker can rotate, he can't rotate. It's very difficult to find a kill into Ori unless he's misplaying, because he's got phase shift and illusory orb. So if he finds farming this bot lane instead, it's much better for the side of Tundra.
Well, expect Lone Druid to be AFK in the sense of he's going to just kind of do his own thing for a little bit now on the side of Team Aster. So, of course, fighting around him certainly a viable strategy. That starts with the puck. As you got bottom lane, you got them clearing out all the trees down here. Baboka next to his tower, so he's fine. But yeah, Puck's level 7 now, so he's had that Dream Coil for a little bit. I was going to say, maybe expect some plays. Well, here we go. The Dream Coil, middle lane.
But how?
Wyvern assistance, but yeah, where's the damage? They don't really have a lot of damage right here, and Nine's like, okay, if you want to fight, let's fight. Unfortunately, cannot connect with his Aether Remnant, but still, he survives.
Yeah, he's like, I can do subpar abilities too. Big difference between Coil and Aether Remnant usage there, though. One misses, whoop-de-doo, the other misses. What do I now do for quite a while? Well, Ori's going to try to get active bot lane. Black Hole doesn't connect on Ori, though. He was trying to connect onto both here. XSS staying alive for the time being. Illusion through. They get the kill on Enigma first, and Ori might turn it into a double. Either way, a better exchange for Aster.
Oh, and he picks up the courier on the way, adding insult to injury right there. Yeah, I mean, you understand what 3-3 was going for. That's definitely one of those unfortunate situations, and we do the bottle trade-off right here with the TP in middle lane, by the way. They're killing the Wyvern. They capitalized. Tundra realizing Pucks, of course, bought him, so they'll collapse onto the Wyvern and make that kill happen. But yeah, it was just Ori was just a little bit out of range, and he did a good job being patient, waiting for the black hole to eventually finish. His abilities came off cooldown, and then we saw what happened. So there's that rotation that I was kind of referring to, though, with the puck. It didn't necessarily need a Dream Coil for it, but in the end, he makes it happen.
Yeah, and interesting thing here is just how well Skid is still doing. Yeah, he's been surpassed a little bit. The Enigma's still on top despite that death. I think there's a big disparity here between what Monet's going to be able to do and what Skid is going to be able to do in the next 15 minutes. That's important as well because that plays towards Ursa's peak timings. Tundra need the Ursa to have a good start to the game to follow up, and it looks like they'll tick that box at this rate. I think the next marker for them, though, are these towers. If they can get rid of the tier 1s, then they access Roche around the 20-minute mark, and Tundra are on course for a very quick game, which, looking at the statistics, they like quick games. Most of their games are over fast, one way or the other.
Well, it's interesting you say that because, well, hold on, because we got the disruption use down here. Malphus down on Baboka. Brewmaster. Well, poison's starting to add up, so not going to be a full-on engagement. We'll respect it. But yeah, to the point you were just saying about the quicker game, perhaps, it is going to be a Battle Fury build on Ursa, by the way. We're looking to see here. So, going to get that
it's
farming
still
tool.
a hero that naturally plays faster, right? Because of his objective unlocks.
Of course, yeah.
Like with the Enigma as well, this draft is intended to just naturally do things like towers and Roche. Something that Aster don't necessarily do without a lot of farm.
Keeping an eye on that, though. He's continuing to be out there in the farm, but yeah, how about this Enigma? We're talking about it. Maybe not going to be as good of a game for him earlier on, but you know what? Never mind. 3-3. He's top of the net worth. This is why this hero's such the high ban pick rate. One of the many reasons. But the Wraith Pact has now been finished. Wraith Pact brown boots and a Blightstone, not too shabby. He's going to keep pushing this bottom lane, because why not? We haven't seen a Primal split yet, I don't believe, from the Brewmaster. That is online, though.
No, he was pumping it when he came down initially, but because the Primal Beast had already used the Onslaught, he didn't see it as worthwhile to chase, so he just held on to it instead. Instead, they just want to give Lone Druid the easiest lane. They want to keep him away from the strong points of Tundra, because there's no denying that Monet has not had a great start to this game.
Middle lane, or the 9 coming rotated at the bottom lane. Yeah, XXS. Don't think he's getting out of this one. No chance for a Primal split. And I was just about to mention, Void Spirit finishing those boots of travel. He immediately takes advantage of the speed to come to the bottom lane and help set up a gank. And they're going to smoke with this and go right to the mid lane. So we'll see if they can make a kill happen on the Wyvern.
Things are happening first top. Aster's moving in. There is a ward here, so Tundra should know to get away. But it doesn't mean that this smoke will not connect for Tundra. It just gets them back in position as Aster were trying to make a move on the north side of the map.
So it ends up being not much coming out of it in terms of engagement. As we say that, there's the initiation. Ori's nearby, though. He's got the Dream Coil if needed.
Oh
yep, and there's that turn kill onto the Void Spirit. The blow up is real. Baboka. That's what I was talking about with the Purge. Not necessarily for the Purge itself, but more the slow effect. And gonna keep Baboka at bay, but hey, the damage is already done.
Yeah, big kill there, really big kill. And that, of course, was Tundra's move to make. Aster were just looking at a failed gank attempt, rotating back to the lanes, but it pays off in the end. Sami is able to miraculously live there, and just great interception. The silence coming in very clutch from Ori. And now they'll immediately smoke up, because after that fight, they haven't got Dream Core available still for 45 seconds, but Baboka still has the Pulverize to work with because of that purge that came out from snaking.
Yeah. And being smoked up, him and the puck. Okay, no Dream Coil, but you mentioned the Pulverize. They can find down here Saksa hiding behind the trees. 9 down here.
Oh, they know about the Shaker. They saw the courier.
Going in with the Echo Slam. 9
gone.
Get the kill.
And now punishment the other way. I think Saksa knew what was going to happen for doing this, but just happy to keep poor little XXS's head in the mud.
And now they want to create more space down here at the bottom lane, but not necessarily for, well, eventually for Monet, I suppose. But as I was going to say, Lone Druid is quietly doing his own thing once again, now in the top jungle. More so at the triple camp.
Isn't this a little bit similar in that element to last game? Like quietly farming away, Monet is just kind of catching up to the Ursa. I think it's different from the offlane perspective though. Like XSS does not have a game as it stands. 33 has the world at his fingertips. It is still going to be a difficult game though because of the Wyvern to counter him out.
Yeah, it goes back to that again. When it comes to that black hole presence, it's not necessarily as intimidating when there is such a tool on the other side. He's making his way to the middle now. You see what he's got queued up. I believe he actually... No, somebody else. He does have the shards queued up as well, but of course the blink looking to be built by him. How's that Battle Fury, by the way? Battle Fury is online for Ursa. No, another 300 gold saved up, so Skitter really accelerating that farm efficiency. Some nice stacks actually in the jungle, so that's big.
Yes, tasty stacks, and he's trying to rush towards that blink next so you can start participating. And that's the beautiful thing. Now you can just accelerate that gap. Just as it's starting to close, Monet, the only way you'll be able to catch up now is if you can begin to delete towers and delete them fast. But instead, they're trying to delete heroes. Ori is going to be forced to commit the Dream Call. Insta-snap comes out from snaking. He knows he's going to be dead. Best thing you can do now is try to delay them as much as possible.
Yeah. Again, still no Primal Split. Hasn't had the opportunity to use it, but XXS, the point to that is it is still ready to be used, so not needed there. And they take the top tower as well. But overall, 3,000 net worth still stands for the side of Tundra. And I also look back at this Void Spirit. He's, again, got those bots and making the bots work as far as moving around the map quite a bit, taking farm different places, and he's got 1,700 gold saved up. Yule's an idea, but I love the idea of the Ag Scepter on the Void Spirit as well. That Resonant Pulse, especially having the Signs effect, great against, you know, really just in general, so many heroes, but the Puck certainly comes to mind.
Yeah, yours just makes a lot of sense to open up. It lets you get away from the silence that got you killed in the mid lane. On top of that, this hero is actually not bad against Puck. Like, you can't phase shift away from the Remnant. If the Remnant comes out, the moment you reveal, you're insta-stunned. Just like this poor little Primal Beast, but looks like they won't commit onto him. They respect the tier 2 tower. However, in the mid lane, counter-attack coming out here. Primal Split just in time, and Skinner should have been farming. Instead, he's going to get farmed.
Yeah, they were worried about a response at the bottom lane, but what they needed to be worried about is the gank in the middle. That is a big kill on Ursa. As we're just talking about with the Battle Fury pickup, his farm's accelerating, our first Primal Split use. And now Staking is also caught out. Ori gonna secure this one, puts the Dream Coil down, and a couple more auto attacks later. Makes it happen down here. Down south, yeah, 3-3. The Black Hole, I don't know about this one. He wants the kill, but at what cost? He wants to live as well. Do they have a stopper? They do not? Okay, he's out.
Okay, so that looks like Omega lol Black Hole, but that saved him. If he didn't do that, he was going to get pulverized. He done that intentionally so he'd be able to TP away, knowing that Dream Call was already committed for the second time in a row on the Shadow Demon. So overall, it looks like a Omega lol Black Hole, but at this stage in the game, there wasn't much more you're going to do with it. You're still just a walking aura pushing lanes at this stage, so might as well get a kill out of it.
Oh, and absolutely. Especially, hey, get a solo kill out of it with Black Hole at this point of the game, when we talk about how difficult it's going to be, even if you happen to get a BKB later. It's still a very difficult task. So yeah, you know, certainly a great use there by 3-3, and especially for the fact that it open getaway, as you mentioned. He doesn't have enough blink yet. He's going to be building that blink, as mentioned. Ursa is not going the blink route. He's going the BKB, at least for the time being. And something else that, you know, whenever you have an Ursa in the game, you think about the idea that earlier Roshan, but Tundra hasn't necessarily found the positioning or the chance for it at this time.
Yeah, I think this is one of those like pivotal kill moments where it fundamentally changes the way you look at the game. That death on Ursa in the mid lane, he's like, okay, I can actually die a lot quicker than I expected. So why would I build a blink to, what, jump in and die faster? I need BKB first. It makes a lot of sense when you look at the enemy's draft. There is still, of course, that looming threat of the Winter's Curse, but by getting BKB, you force bad choices outside MAC. Do I stop the Ursa that could run us through, or do I stop the Enigma that could grab multiple heroes in the Black Hole? Now you have to choose.
Well, they got to think about Tundra stopping the Roshan attempt from happening. They scan it out. They know this is happening. They're going in. Saksa going fast. Oh, but the Ori initiation. And now Saksa, he's running backwards. You do see Baboka charging in. 3-3. Puts some Alpha Stuns out. But, Fear onto the Void Spirit. Going to be disrupted, though. Nine's fine. So far, Primal Beast, the only one dead. Black Hole, again, not ready. Down for 80 more seconds. Lifted up onto the Puck. But he's fine, yeah, trying to protect their teammates' success. There's that Primal Split, and now the go time for Aster, but Ursa kiting away. The Wraith Pact towed him down, 3 seconds left. It is just gonna run out of duration. Lift up on Ursa. This fight, not really truly initiating yet. Both teams very timid, but Ursa, is this the time? No.
They've got Roar in one. They got Roar in one. Okay, they can't. The Shaker's on the side. Re-jump in here. On the lone Druid, in trouble to cut through, but saving grace there? No! Cold Embrace will not keep him alive. LD goes down, and Tundra getting more and more out of these fights the longer they go on. Saxa still somehow miraculously living. Will go down finally. Ori being brought low. Ursa baited in somewhat, and the Pulverize does come out to counter him. Loser Orb through, and the Witness Curse used. Ursa killed off by his own teammates. Disruption is safe for a moment, but the follow-up damage will be able to finish him off. Ori.
The fight continues.
He's alive. Not for long, though. Will fall. XXS, still very tanky, but neglected and ignored. Without the primal split, they seem to just not see him as a threat. Their mistake to make as Ori plows through, triple killed, now a fourth. For the third time in a row, he commits the coil onto the SD. And in the end, Aster take a good fight.
Even Skitter throwing the tip the way of Puck. He's got to respect how Ori played that fight, just in and out, the constant resets in the positioning, and certainly the reason we are going to see Aster come out on top of that fight when it's all said and done. I mean, you look at the damage recap of that fight. Yeah, he had the most at 3,200 plus. Void Spirit did plenty himself at 2,600. But Ursa had trouble sitting on the targets. I mean, that's kind of the name of the game with an Ursa, right? Where, yes, he does a lot of damage, especially if he can sit on top of you, but there's that big if that comes into play before he has things like the Basher, dare I say the Abyssal Blade, etc. He really is relying on his teammates to keep them locked in place. They did not have that black hole presence, and just simply wasn't enough of that lockdown to allow Ursa to do the damage that he's looking to do.
There's just so much finesse to the way both sides players fight. You can see it in the recap, like the in and out factor that they're both capable of. The Void Spirit and Puck you mentioned, the resets of the Wyvern and the SD that we talked about in the draft. There are loads of ways to just fret or prevent a threat coming your way. And the beautiful thing is between that, even the carries offer up stuff, right? The Ursa threat factor, you can't allow him to be on top of you. The lone Druid with the Savage Roars coming in clutch at points. Just amazing fights on both sides, and it shows you just how tight this can be. I mean, you know, going in this, Aster was seen as the clear favorites, and they're definitely taking the lead again. But make no mistake about it, especially compared to Game 1, Tundra still have clear ways of fighting, and we have to remember that they fought that battle without a great black hole. That's still ahead of us.
It is. Again, still, then becomes that mind game of where's the Wyvern and can you maybe catch the Wyvern? But right now, Wyvern is working on his own blink at 1,200 gold saved up, and currently Aster also smoking as far as Puck, Wyvern, and the Brewmaster are concerned. That primal split once again online, ready to go. Hoping to maybe find 9. Talked about the Ags for for the Void Spirit earlier on, the silencing effect, and just in general what it can do. It is coming. It's getting there. Not online yet, though. Aster's chasing, man. They really want this kill down here on somebody, specifically 9, but he's a little too fast.
They have got the Dream Core, but instead they're going to hesitate and back off here. They thought maybe they find the Ursa farming the jungle. Instead, they might just have to settle for a cheap kill on a Shaker here.
Not even.
Right.
Well,
yeah, he'll go for it. He's got the Witchblade. That's really proving quite the frustration these long engagements. So Shaker will go down, but baits them into a dangerous fight. XSS gets the split out just in time, and Puck has to commit to finish off the Shaker, but now Skidder without a target. Black Hole does come through into Ori, so we'll find the solo there, but forces the main fight on the other side. Reinforcements now arriving. Witness Curse comes out into the Ursa. BKB about to run out, and no enrage to work with. He just needs to retreat as quickly as possible. Pulverize follow-up onto the Enigma to get rid of 33, and 9 will just have to cut and run, but Boca will not allow it. BKB activates, so he dodges out the Remnant. However, without a follow-up, Tundra will save face here. No one else has to die.
yeah, great black hole from 3-3 right there. And actually, that's a prime target, especially with Wyvern not close enough to counter with the curse initially. That's what allowed them to kill Ori. I mean, we saw what he did in the previous fight when they weren't able to lock him down long enough. So that's the good news for Tundra. The bad news is still clearly didn't necessarily go as well for them as they perhaps hoped. So Lone Druid still has that Aegis, which, by the way, still has another 2 minutes remaining on it. And the Bear getting bigger. The Assault Cuirass in the works, already has a Deso, and of course the Hand of Midas, as we mentioned before. But it's going to really continue to come down to Ursa if he's able to sit on those targets. And I mean, that fight had to play much more defensive, of course, to Skidder because of how the initiation took place. But speaking of that, his own blink at 1,800 gold saved up is just about there. They also get Earthshaker with the blink purchase. That's another big one. And so these tools are now coming for Tundra to give them the openings and give them the opportunity to strike first in these fights now.
And you see how they've itemized in a way to force subpar, well, not subpar options, but like strip the MVP value of Siamese Sea in this game. That winner's curse didn't come out for the black hole. He had to save it for the Ursa because the BKB's there. This is great itemization by Tundra. As you mentioned, the double blink now coming out. This gives them the in and out effect. This allows them to kind of poke, prod, and then when they see a weak point, fully pile onto it. And if you think about what Aster have, outside the winner's curse, they don't have anything to necessarily stop that from occurring, especially with magical immunity starting to come in the picture. Multiple members of Tundra.
Smoke on out from Tundra, almost running away with it rather than looking for an engagement, wrapping around us if they're potentially being flanked, but as we see, more so Aster,
Nice
they're not flanking, they're trying to go for a catch, but as you mentioned, that dodge, quick reactions from the side of Saksa, able to blink out, and thus no engagement will take place. Back to farm, we continue to go, but again, with those tools now being online of the initiation, it seems like a precious timing. 30 seconds on the Aegis for Aster, so this is one of those moments if you're Tundra doing the timing, the math in your head, well, maybe some sort of smoke play now and try to find that lone druid could be key, but I don't know if they're necessarily going to be up to. They are positioning as if that might be possible. Skitter grouping up in the trees over here, but not going for it yet.
No, I think they're a little bit hesitant. They need to see something shown on the map. Otherwise, they risk running into a smoke on smoke. And as we've seen, Aster have the tools to take these main fights. Meanwhile, Tundra, still without Black Hole for 10 seconds, they'd be jumping the gun. Now that it's about to come off cooldown, though, they could make a move.
Well, there's that reclaim we just heard. So now, of course, they're aware. However, again, still no smoke being used, and so Skitter will head to the mid lane and push out the farm there for the time being. There is no vision. I guess I shouldn't say that. There is some vision here for Tundra. You know, fairly deep in the jungle. Not necessarily given the greatest amount of vision, but still some information. Somebody happens to walk by it. But
yeah,
back to farm we go, and
they're looking for a kill opportunity here, right? Because like they don't want to take a direct 5-on-5. Sure, you have Black Hole, but you just want pick off potential. Like, especially if you can spot the Ursa rotating away from the main fight. It feels like at that point, a lot of Aster's finishing damage is gone from the engagements. So like it's, oh not the Ursa, sorry, the Lone Druid. Because Lone Druid at this stage is adding a lot in these fights. Like you can see, he's got the Desolator now, he's almost got the AC complete. This bear is ready to brawl with the other bear in this game, finally.
Definitely feeling like going toe-to-toe might be a possibility, especially with the AC pickup. And this tower is going to melt quickly, as we see, when the bear starts hitting it. So that's a tier 1 dead, and now the mind game's coming up. Does Aster keep pushing this? Their top lane is being pushed into the tier 2 tower as well, but it looks like they certainly are. The quick answer is yes. They have enough push right here to beat a threat, and Tundra's the one that needs to react.
Yeah, Aster are giggling to themselves. If they're looking and going, so Tundra think they can trade towers? There's no world in which that happens. Not against the bear. Sure, you've got an Enigma, but Eidolons just don't compare to what the bear's doing, especially that Desolator online. And they're going to force all the TPs back now. Unlikely Aster will commit to the high ground, though, as they know what they'll be up against.
Not sending it to the upground, just as mentioned. They get the response out of Tundra, what they really were hoping for Aster, and now they can retreat, farm out the jungle, and kind of reposition themselves, take control of the map. So it continues to go back to just the fluid gameplay, the smart gameplay of Aster, doing the appropriate play, it feels like, in the moment of the game. And because I go back to it, still continues to be an overall net worth lead for Tundra, but it has started to decrease now, and we are seeing Lone Druid on the top of the actual individual net worth chart. And that goes back to the AC being finished, and this bear of his is looking pretty good.
It's the tower difference as well. They took 2 additional tier 2s compared to what Tundra are able to do. It's kind of funny how it comes around for Aster. Even though they don't target the objectives, they eventually get them. And also, you can see that Tundra are waiting for Aster to show on vision so they could go back to the east side of the map. They never got that info. However, they might have caught a glimpse of this smoke with the backward. It's a little hard to tell at this point. Most of Aster were in the trees, so it's possible that Tundra did not see this smoke. And I'm not aware this is about to turn into a smoke on smoke battle.
We're going to see the yellow timer here in a second.
2 minutes.
It's going to be a little longer, yeah. 2-minute respawn, so don't want to wait around too long if you're your other team. But yeah, Tundra with a 5-player smoke and unable to find the enemies. They were obviously over here in the triangle, not going uphill, not worth it. And still, they'll farm up middle, and immediately the pings come out as soon as Ursa jumps that mid. He's queuing up the basher, though. He clicks a couple of the items. He just needs a recipe, so not going to be concerned about the buyback at this time. He wants that basher for good reason. That's that tool that helps him stay on top, as we were talking about earlier. He really needs something there.
Yeah, and notice that neither team is revealing more than 1 hero in a lane. This is intentional. It's by design. They're trying to dangle something. They don't want to show their splits. They're split. The other team looked 5-man. And it looks like Ori want a 5-man now, moving in with the haste. Dreamcool comes out straight away onto 9. 33 is nearby. That's going to make them hesitate because the Blackfall is a threat to worry about. Pulverize is available. The BKB activated by Boboka. But there's that disruption save. That's going to force Aster to fully back away.
Yeah, it's the chess match, KP. It really is. It's the engagement happens. It was a great catch from Ori. That just as you're talking about how they're sticking together too much, there was a bit of isolation there for the Void Spear. Ori tried to capitalize.
Two.
But, there's the jump.
He fights them. Discuss. Reset. But what can they do with this? Breaky, I mean, this is a good start to fight, but can they follow it up?
Well, that bear is still well alive. Primal Beast, not so much. He is going to be locked down by the Malphus. The bear trying to run away. Savage Roar, but they're just going to lock it down to the point where it's just dead. Resummon, of course, coming out from Monet, but absolutely, they can follow it up. Good reset there from Tundra, and the Echo Slam initiation from the Earthshaker in the clutch. No Roshan yet. That's the one unfortunate thing for Tundra. We still have another 15 seconds, but if they are patient enough, they certainly can position to make this happen. I mean, they still have the Black Hole threat especially. Team fight still possible.
That vision came in clutch in the end. Tundra had been dangling this Observer Ward for a while, hadn't found value, but what a way to extract it in the end. Great turnaround to take control, and although Roche isn't on the table straight away, they can deward the area, they can take control. And now they're going to move with that Roche. And, well, against other lineups, sure, this wouldn't be a big enough opportunity to finish the objective, but it's an Ursa, baby. This is prime rib munching time. It's going to be in and done with Roche in less than 30 seconds.
Like 15 seconds, really. I mean, yeah, very, very quick. Roshan gets the Aegis and does pick up the shards as well, so that Urshock now having that enrage for a second and a half. Pretty good tool for him to have with the pickup there. So yeah, Skitter certainly taking back that lead as being the top farm of the game, but Ori, I mean, initiation. Are they really going to follow up?
On?
Disruption.
They know the split.
Yeah, he does have the split, but there's a lift, so Ursa still might be in some trouble right here. Ori, gonna go further? No. He's just keeps on running, and he's fine. Again, with the Aegis, you don't want to overcommit. Oh my. That's the play.
It's so precisional the way they inject and then, like, extract, right? Like, we've seen this time and time again in this game. The reason Aster so fervently made that move onto an Aegis carrying bear is because 9 was showing bot lane. I believe they also got a glimpse on the Shaker as well, so they knew that Tundra was split. They felt they were being overconfident, but as we see, they have reason to be confident here. However, this time around, vengeance will be found against the Shaker that made Aster lose map control. But the split was committed, and you got to keep in mind, Tundra, they've got all their abilities available. Shaker's only gone for 40. They've got a lot of time to use that Aegis.
Yeah, and he's got an Echo Slam ready to go with XXS's name on it. So definitely still not the most intimidating thing ever that Tundra's dealing with. They are, in fact, going to smoke up, so 25 seconds for that Earthshaker, but showing that they want to fight still.
Okay. Just a little bit of brawling between the most elusive heroes on each side in the top lane. That means that neither is going to be participating in this bot battle. Skitter is leading the way. If he can find Siamese Sea to open up, that's perfect because there's going to be no Winter's Curse, and he gets the prime target. We'll hunt through looking for more. Breaky. Do they do it? Black Hole's going to come out. 33 connects into the bear, but not the main bear. Monet still unleashed in the beast, able to move forward and turn around on the Skitter here. Bear on bear action, yet Skitter looking like he should come out ahead. Force out the enrage, yours as well being used, and Pulverize turned around upon the 33 Enigma. But Ursa at the end of it is left alone without a team, and without a team, he is nothing.
Yeah, they're not going to commit to a further kill, though, especially with Void Spirit joining the party. A little bit late, but at least he gets here. But yeah, Skitter, no more Aegis to be had as it comes back up. So really, when you kind of factor that into play, you know, it's certainly an advantage for Aster, but damage done by Tundra at the very least. But yeah, you saw the true form from the Lone Druid. With that true form especially, I mean, he is a beefy boy himself, and so Ursa having trouble breaking through all that life pool. And unfortunately, with the crowd control coming into play on top of that, could not lock him down long enough. And then, of course, we saw what happened in the end, specifically with the Primal Beast coming in there and showing off that BKB of his once again and helping with that lockdown. So, good kill to Ursa. They get the Aegis taken away. And it continues to be a game of really, it's anything can happen, it feels like. The jump is certainly the biggest part of it. And that's what you like to see in these longer games.
Most definitely. And you got to look at who has the highest ceiling. Like, it's hard to kind of not back the idea of an Enigma in the hyper late game. But Aster are no pushover. I think like Lone Druid's kind of a different beast these days. It's not this kind of clear 35, 40-minute timing like it used to be. Wyvern's also a great counterplay throughout the game. I think overall they have similar scalability. Like you can argue 2 hours in the game, like a Lone Druid could be 12 slotted, and we love that cool memeful idea, but it doesn't happen very often. Overall, I think heading into like the 60-minute mark, either side could still take this, even when one side is tilting 10k ahead.
You look at some items being highlighted. The very good one certainly is the Ursa with that swift blink now finished. So that movement speed, ridiculous. The agility, nice. But how about Lone Druid, by the way, the quad Wraith Band on him. Hoping to just tank himself up as well and just get those raw stats. Always nice. But Skitter hiding in the trees, lurking. Ori jumps in first. Not necessarily going to fully engage, though. We've said this once or twice before, especially with that Shadow Demon nearby to respond and save if need be. So not going to overcommit to it.
No, it's just you're trying to see what you can get. Right? It's just kind of like you're throwing something out there and you're seeing what's the response. You know, it's kind of like you're playing poker and you're like, well, I've got like a kind of okay hand. I'm going to put out $10. What are you going to put out? $20? Whoa, I think I might raise you. Yeah, you get to a point where it's too much though. If you see them just slam $200 in the center, you're like, I've only put in $10. I'm going to walk away from this one. But at that point, your opponent is still $200 down, right? And that $200 in that situation would be a black hole or an echo slam, which will be the difference maker.
Oh, 5-player smoke. They also have the gem, by the way, on Void Spirit. That was picked up earlier when they killed that Wyvern. Forgot to mention that in that previous fight. But Skitter, they see XXS. They're going in. Can they kill him before the split? No, he gets lifted up. And he goes for it, but the bash. However, the save with the Cold Embrace. Never mind. He's dead when it's all said and done. There's the save, though. This time, onto the Ursa. Disruption going to be used. Fear on out, Ursa. He's got that erase out, turns around. That's the bear he wants to kill. Going toe-to-toe with Monet's bear, and the bear is going to fall. The resummon coming up pretty quickly. The onslaught in from Baboka. 3-3, pops his BKB, going for Black Hole. No, not yet. As Skitter with the beatdown, they take out the Primal Beast. 3-3 still has that Black Hole. Curse still available for the Wyvern. Again, that's that chess play, and right now it's favoring Tundra.
Second bear is going to go down, though, and that is a pretty big opportunity. Monet resummoned, so 100 seconds without bear. Tundra can do whatever the hell they choose. Not only do they get the kills, they still holding the Black Hole, the Echo Slam as well. Brilliant play as well. They baited Baboka in, and as soon, you saw it, he went to cast Pulverize, BKB activated. Nothing you can do. They just dangled themselves until Aster have extended, and man, looking back at the beginning of that fight, what is it with Ursas and bashing when they need to? It's almost like they tap the point on their screen. They're like, is this thing working? If he did not get that bash, if the split comes out, we could be looking at a completely different state of affairs here. Because at that point, Aster can flood through, they can keep the backlines out of the engagement, and then they can just basically solo down the cores of Tundra one by one.
Let's just say, with that overpower, if he doesn't get a bash there, that's actually more unlucky than lucky at that point. So, you know, happen to have that tool, obviously, you're ready to come online, engage, and make the play happen for the lockdown to get that kill, because you're all right. If he stays alive, maybe a different story. Speaking of staying alive, XXS trying here, but there's the Ursa once again following it up. As soon as the Cold Embrace goes down, so does the Panda in this case. And this is also a tier 2. You mentioned, though, 30 seconds on the Summon Spirit pair. So Monet's just sitting in his base. It's like, what he really is kind of a creep, like a buffed up creep at this point. Range creep, you could say, because he's not the most useful without that bear of his, as we all know, and certainly Tundra's aware. So they're going to keep going. Without an Aegis, they're going to go uphill, and they're going really high ground to the Primal Beast. Again, the Cold Embrace, but Skitter just stacking on up, and a couple more auto attacks needed, although he needs to be careful. He's going to get Dream Quill, but the BKB committed, and the Enrage even, just to be sure. He'll stay alive.
No chance to take it. Nice dodge by the puck just in time. We'll be able to get away. That would have easily been a kill converter for them otherwise. And looks like Tundra's going to back away. I just noticed, by the way, Breaky, like, I don't know what it's called, because like you have cockfighting, which is where you have like chickens. What's bear fighting called? And is that even legal on Twitch? Because we've got a lot of that going on here. We're just watching Ursa murder poor pandas in both the Brewmaster and the Lone Druid form, and vice versa.
It's called, oh shit, run. We should not be here. You don't want to be around the bear on bear. Yeah, no, that's definitely what. Again, it's a matchup that maybe we're not necessarily seeing a lot. I will say, going back to the Ursa, though, if we're talking about the draft, I forget now. But the point is, Ursa is yet again another one of these carry heroes that is making appearances here and there already early in the day number 1, and another example here with Tundra. And like we say, for good reason. And this matchup itself is top net worth and clearly the big factor as to why Tundra has a lead. And he's going to be lifted up in the air once again. XXS, though, he's going to get locked down himself. The cold embrace yet again comes out, but the black hole from 3-3 going to be used, committing for it. He ain't being stopped. The curse ain't stopping him. And the stun after the fact, XXS, he can't get the split off. The lockdown is just too much to handle, and now Skitter's really going ham, but Boca has to respect that. Instead, he'll go south and secure the kill onto the puck. That's the bigger one anyways.
Yep, it really is the bear war. It begins how all bear wars do. They sniff each other, they don't like what they smell, and they attack, and now they're attacking more. Lone Druid found on the back line. Stun comes out, courtesy of the rock throw from Primal Beast. Buybacks now commit to try and turn around, but Skitter able to efficiently stay in this one. Commit with the bash to come out. 9 brought low, but saved by the disruption, and Monet in a little bit too deep here. 9 will live.
That's a
but the
dieback,
Bear Lord will not. In fact, the Lord of all bears will keep on chasing. Skitter is unassailable in this game.
This swift blink, I mean, you just see, he's just a zoom boy right here. You are not running away from the bear. The troubles earlier of not being able to sit on targets is absolutely no longer the case. Between the swift blink, the bash, and of course support coming in, he is able to sit on top of targets. And looking at this recap, yeah, no surprise. He's doing plenty of damage, 7,500 damage in fact, throughout that fight that took place. I mean, technically the gold change going in the Radiant's favor, but I don't think Tundra's concerned about that. They definitely win that fight.
Yeah, they have to be very comfortable with the way this is playing out. Like, sure, the Void Spirit gets sacrificed quite early on, but he's doing what he needs to. Like, some people kind of question about, like, what's the value of Void Spirit? You know, the Age of Spirits is beyond us. Boo, these heroes. There's better picks now. You're seeing what Void Spirit still offers. It's this type of hero that can just go in, hunt a target, delay him, and then still potentially survive and get out himself until reinforcements arrive. That's what was beautiful about that. He was able to get so deep and find that LD where other heroes couldn't.
Yeah, and you know, you may be thinking like, because that was my first reaction, right? When that curse came out after the black holes, what was he doing? Why not? Oh, then you see the Enigma with the Lincoln. So he went to BKB Lincolns. He had to have just picked up that Lincoln just previous to that fight. I'm pretty sure that was the last item they got right there, but that makes a lot more sense. Thus, the full duration of the black hole. And suddenly that Witch's Curse isn't as scary as we see, for example, right there. So, yeah, now Aster has to deal with a very, very real threat of the black hole taking place. And you also have to deal with a level 25 Ursa, by the way, who now has the +3
with
overpower
double BKB.
attacks.
With double BKB.
Oh, yeah,
like,
you're right, the refresher, wow.
Yeah, because he used it in that last fight. That's how he kept going through it all. That's how he's able to follow up. Another cool detail, look what he's got in his backpack, the Mindbreaker. If he jumps on the park, you don't need a first hit bash to get a kill anymore. Ori's almost definitely dead. The only saving grace for him is the fact that he did go for this Aeon Disc. But you're up against heroes that can address that easily. Heroes like Shadow Demon. This is a very difficult game now for Ori to play.
Yeah. It also kind of goes back to this Brewmaster, though, right? And the Primal, like, he just can't cast his main ability. I mean, this is what this... You pick up this hero to Primal Split. Now, this is where the new Axe, though, comes into play, as I was kind of talking about with the draft, at that point being made of... He doesn't have the double Primal Split, but he at least has this tool here of the Storm Panda going around and being able to be useful there, even if he's being locked on himself. But again, still, Tundra, they know their mission. It's locked down the Brewmaster, and don't let him get his Primal Split off, and they've been very successful at that so far.
Yeah, he gets to have 1/3 of a Primal Split. That's the deal now. You just have to pay 4K for it. It's actually kind of interesting because he might be able to get Primal Split off because of the Tornado Panda. Because you can either Tornado Skitter up or Dispel him with the Dispel Magic. And that might give you enough time because if the overpower's not there, you're not guaranteed to get bashed. The problem is Skitter has double BKB, and Skitter wants food, and he's found it. More bear on bear action, Cold Embrace to try and save the day. But I hesitate to dream of a world in which a Brewmaster does not die here.
It's just rinse and repeat, the same thing over and over again. The Cold Embrace comes out, it just doesn't matter. He cannot get it off. Down goes the Primal Beast. He's out for 90 seconds. That's a dieback. And you think, oh, that's alright. That would be dieback as well. There's the Aeon Disc you talked about, but it's popped, and now he's very vulnerable. So Tundra going back for Roshan. This would be the third one with that Ag's Blessing as well. And that could be the potential game finisher, you figure. They're going to get Roshan here, and I'm sure Tundra is going to be looking to finish this one now.
Yeah, it's kind of cruise mode, right? 25k up at this stage. The unkillable bear. Meanwhile, on the other side, all bears dying. Usually Brewmaster, but even this LD now, it's a... it's a struggle to see a way in which they can get back into this. I mentioned the idea that they can kind of be even in a late game scenario. That requires them to be even on net worth as well. They could not be much further apart at this stage.
Pushing this top lane, the tier 2 vulnerable.
Yeah, he lost the barrier as well, so he just had to resummon, and they know that. Like, there's no way a lone druid sits without resummon. So 120 seconds now. That's a big window of opportunity with Aegis and Cheese as well. Not to mention the fact that Tundra do still have their Black Hole and Echo Slam.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, a very real black hole. Now with that Lincoln's in play to go with the BKB. We have to respect that possibility as Ori. Farming out the creep wave, trying to get a little bit of push in Aster's favor, but this is what you see when you're down 35,000 net worth and the Roshan just happened against you. You're kind of just having to sit in your base. And that's not necessarily what you want to be doing, but you don't really have a choice. Go out and that jump immediately happens, and you just get blown up no matter who you are. In fact, speaking of that, the bear, well, the fear at least.
Yeah, he got it off. If he got bashed straight away, though, good lord. I mean, that bear could easily have died in that time. And the worry now is, like, if the bear gets jumped, you have to commit to defend it until it's off cooldown. So it's 60 seconds still where this bear is kind of a liability. Because if you don't keep it alive, they're going to die for you. Like, the biggest threat to them right now is this LD. Nothing else really matters to them.
But what is there to do for Tundra? It's, well, just if they're not going to come out of their base, they're just going to sit there. Let's just keep farming up the jungle and continue to take this game even a little bit further. I mean, we haven't mentioned really Void Spirit much recently, but yeah, they had Octarine Core being pointed out at the Kai and Sage. Also has a Spell Prism as well, so plenty of cooldown reduction to work with there. More Astral Steps, etc.
Yeah, and he went for the crit on Astral Step at 25. Like, ever since they made that change, Dissimulate isn't as sexy anymore. You know, stun good, root, eh. So kind of understandable why he went this way. Just trying to maximize that damage. But and looking at the other side, I'm trying to think what the X factor is.
Yeah,
like, you can see the dreams that Siamese Sea has, right? Like, in an ideal world, sure, you could get a refresher and you could save the day. But even with Philly Stone, baby, we're miles away.
No, that's I mean, again, it really is that awkward, unfortunate case for Aster. It's like, you understand why they're not going out right here, but they've gotten down 5,000-6,000 more net worth in the last 2 minutes because they've just been sitting in their base. So it's like, to what end, right? I mean, they're not going to get bigger, they're not going to get better at this rate, where the other team is just exponentially increasing. But hey, you know, Aster just gonna hang in there as long as they can, and hoping that they have that chance. But that's where, if you're Tundra, I mean, again, they don't necessarily need to rush in and finishing this game, but they do have the Aegis. You know, perhaps they got the refresher. I mean, Ursa's good to go. Everyone's good to go, as we keep stressing. Maybe enough is enough if you're Tundra, but not for now yet.
It's like, it's kind of Tundra and Aster, they kind of had this brawl, and it's like that situation where Aster's mum grounded them. And now they're sitting at home, looking out the window, watching Tundra smugly smile at them while they're playing in the playground still. It's just like, that's the feeling you get when you're stuck on the high ground this long. It's like, you know what's happening. You know that they're getting to have all the fun. You know they're going to be better for it. But you just can't come out. I mean, if we look at the buyback situation as well, that's another big issue. Like, Monet, this is a hero that doesn't necessarily do well with buyback, because if you have already summoned the bear again and you die, buyback does nothing for you.
Sure.
So it's a very difficult game to even rely on that element on the defensive. That's why Aster being so reluctant.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an item that Tundra is kind of like clicking through to see if there's one that they're really waiting for. I mean, there's the Ags on Shadow Demon, so sure, that's something. But it does feel like part. Well, they're vibing, sure, but this is a little bit of the TI effect, it almost feels like to me. You're like, right, if this isn't TI, they've already gone in and finished this game, right? Where now it's, you know, they're playing very, very, very safe. You know, really want to make sure it's understandable. Lots of the line here. But yeah, Tundra, it just seems like all they need to do is just kind of, well, pretty much this. Just run at them, kill the bear. The Golden Embrace coming out, going to save him for the time being, but we've said that before, and he's dead. The onslaught of the back lines. Primal Beast doing what he can to pulverize, but the black hole immediately. There's the curse onto the Void Spirit. Actually, Void Spirit's taking a good amount of damage. Will be lifted up, though, and eating that cheese, he's fine, good to go. KP, they want the Spirit dead.
Skid's being kited. It's 7 seconds till the Aegis runs out. They know this as well. They've calculated for it. That's what they're waiting for. If they can time this perfectly, it's going to be so close. Skidder, he's still alive. Aegis is gone. And the bear is dead. Skinner chases even deeper, tries to commit. The roots are coming out, but he cannot lifesteal through. A beautiful Surgic strike by Aster. Timed it perfectly.
You're right, because the way they were not actually killing him until they could confirm that the Aegis was gone. Absolutely, Aster was very on top of that precise timing right there. So, well, there's our answer. I mean, wait for Tundra to do exactly that. Of, hey, my Aegis is, getting lower. We have a 40,000 net worth play. Let's just kind of push the base now with it. And Aster says, here's our opening. They time it perfectly. They get the kill. Now, let's kind of step back a little bit here, KP. I mean, I'm not sitting here and saying Aster all of a sudden is making the comeback of the century, but hey,
sure?
They have good reason to stay in this game. Hey, it could happen. You never know, but they have good reason to stay in this game now is what I'm getting at.
Hey, man, you commit to the idea they're going to win, and then maybe you'll get a shirt for it, but also Caster Curse is a thing. Ori, overly ambitious here. Now, he does at least have buyback, dead for almost 120 seconds there. And that will immediately remind Aster what the state of the game is, but still, it shows you how that panic sets in. You said, like, maybe Tundra's hesitant, it is TI after all. It felt like they panicked in the second part of that fight bot. Like, you saw them have to commit the black hole to try and keep anything alive. And at that stage, the Winner's Curse gets premium value. That sets the rest of the script in motion for that fight. And, man, honestly, they could not have timed that more perfectly. Ursa was down to, I think, about 30 HP. And then the Aegis timed out. And then he had to commit everything to stay alive. And it wasn't enough.
I mean, he stayed alive actually surprisingly a bit longer, but
that was scary
in the end. Yeah, I was thinking for a second, okay, maybe they are just this far ahead where they're going to still win this anyways. But no, again, the timing was there for Aster. But now Tundra, they've reset. They got the puck depth for 60+ seconds. Going to force a buyback if anything. Ursa ready to go back in. That Abyssal Blade lockdown. There's the Brewmaster jump, the stun. He is going to be able to get off the Rival Split, though. We see the Dagon coming into play, by the way. That Void Spirit just picked up. XS tied away with the split. But will it be enough? Hits on Void Spirit. There's a disruption. Immediate save. Skidder now turning his attention back to the little Brewlings there. 3-3 in the back lines. He does have a black hole now. It actually just came back up. So be aware of that possibility. Yeah, they're really keeping it alive. Brewmaster coming back together, though. And here's that initiation from Baboka. But now Brewmaster, he's dead and he's out for 80. Ori not buying back during all of this. Very much so worth highlighting there.
Yeah, at that stage, the split's already been committed. There's nothing left to do. Like, that was your Brew caught completely out of position. If Ori was going to buy back, it had to happen before he was even force-staffed out of the base. And that's the key detail, by the way. That was an aggressive force-staff coming out. They pushed him off of the high ground. At that stage, they were doing everything to keep him alive. And now the jumping comes through. Echo Slam committed. Wyvern gone. Instantly blink of the eyes. And access to the base now obtained for Tundra. They intend to park themselves here. No need to run away fast, because Aster are the ones who have to hesitate.
Yeah, I mean, both the Brewmaster and the Wyvern, they do have buybacks. They're waiting for that prime time. Is it now? Looks like maybe. Brewmaster, he'll use his. The bear, just getting stuck in place. Manages to get it out. Just barely does Monet. He does have a resummon, worst case, but keeping that one alive. Skidder, he's slowed, though.
It's double buyback, though. It's like you need something for this. They know they can't commit on Ursa because he has the refresher. Instead, they're going to be committed upon Monet, saved by the Cold Embrace. Black Hole does get forced out. Only on a Baboka, though. The follow-up looking good. Winner's Curse to count this out and trying to keep Monet alive and get him away. Tries to just go to his true form, but the Black Hole follow-up connects onto the Lone Druid. Monet is going to go down, dead for 100 seconds. He does at least have the resummon, but he doesn't have the gold for the buyback. And Tundra will know it, because if he did, it would be committed. Instead, they can commit to the base and look to turn this into a win.
It's crazy that Tundra isn't able to truly finish this just yet, though. Props to Aster for hanging in here some way, somehow. But it does seem like the end may actually be near this time. The Cold Embrace, the Dagon, there's the nuke for the dieback onto the Brewmaster. And now Puck, can he escape out of this? The Aeon Disc going up, keeping him alive for the time being. Buyback from Shadow Demon on the other side to really go beeline and finish this game now. But yeah, I mean, credit to Aster for making this take forever. They are certainly the delay masters, but I think Tundra may have their opening now.
Oh, man. And LD could have equipped the Philly Stone. It's just sitting there, not being used. He's still not able to buy back. They know it. The park gets caught out. Echo Slam to close him out. Double buyback now as the Lone Druid finally has the Moolah together to fight. But maybe too late here. So much has been committed, and there's not enough front line anymore for Aster.
Yeah. Bottom rack's going to fall. There is still the top one, of course, before Mega creeps. But Tundra, I mean, they could fall back and go for Roshan. Roshan is up.
No, we've been here before.
Just claim that. It seems like maybe not necessary, but just saying. It's an option. No, they're staying in the base, of course.
Yeah, this is like a hesitant cat finally sitting on your lap. But now that it's comfortable, it's not leaving. You can hear that pussy purr because Tundra are feeling pretty content now. Bear gets caught out. Lone Druid, he just summoned that as well. So no Bear for 70 seconds. That is going to be Megas, and Tundra might even just try to end the game.
Yeah, well, I think they've been trying to end the game for the last 20 minutes. It's just Aster's been very stubborn about it. Let's just put it that way. But the Dagon nuke again, and there you go. It is actually official now. GG's come out, and Tundra will take game number 2, and they split the series here in this best of 2. Their first one of the day. So certainly a much better performance from them. Aster, I mean, they had the Lone Druid. He was getting his good farm, but unable to take full advantage of that. And we've talked about the curse counter to the Enigma, but how about the Lincoln's pickup too to go with the BKB? And it feels like that was maybe the moment of, oh crap, that Aster felt of, wait, this just got extra difficult as already.
Yeah, you could actually see how they tried to go really fast as well. Like after that fight bot, you start to get hope for Aster. You're like, what?